only an amateur would imagine that, would say that she or he can't wait to get into the rewrite, is delighted contemplating getting up in the morning and working on that script. The contrary is the case, dreading it. I have.
Interesting. That's somewhat true. It is true. Yeah, it's a dread at most times. Like you don't really feel like jumping out of bed to continue writing your story at all. I wouldn't say only an amateur would not dread the work, because it's like, of course, there's writers who have passion and also it's like it's not all the time. Is there's times where when the ideas are flowing, when it's like just coming in like this, then you're looking forward to getting up and working on the story. But of course, that's the majority of the time is like you're literally just staring at a blank screen and trying to like figure things out, overthink. Oh, does this make sense? Like, should I have the character like this? Should I have it like that? Um, how do I want this story to progress? What the setting is? It should be like this? Should it be like that? What should be the name of the character? This, that. Oh wait, should I change their background or dynamics? Blah 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 blah. There's a lot of that, but yeah, it is a dread for the most part. Like I'll say 80% is dreading your work and writing because it's like at the same time you just don't know the potential of it. Like, yes, you have this belief that like, yes, this could be a really good story for people to read, but of course you don't know how people will react to it. So you just always have that in the back of your mind. But regardless, always have that belief in your story and like regardless. But yeah, is the reality of being a writer is most of the time is going to be tough to get up and try to put something down, especially when you're preparing. This is one of the worst feelings, like preparing for a writing session when you have no idea like where to start, like where to look at first to like figure out this big jungle, this big like solar system you created in your mind, you know? And just figuring out where to start is really be the toughest part. And I think that's why I recommend just like when you're dreading your writing, I recommend just doing like an initial like brain dump for like the first few minutes. Just whatever comes to mind, just write it down. Just do whatever. Or one thing I like to do with my writing sessions is um, before I end my previous writing session, I would like to write down questions and write down what areas I'm stuck at. So like in the end of the previous writing session, I'm like, okay, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck there, I'm trying to decide this, I'm trying to decide that. All right, let me write down, like, let me put these issues, these problems I'm facing with the story and put it in like a question format. And then in my next writing session, I'm able to look through those questions and see, if my brain ever thought of a solution or, thought of some new ideas or, you know, things like that. But it kind of helps me in a way because it like lets me know like okay, start here, like this is where you left off, this is where you start next. Of course, or you're if you could just like continue like drafting by chapter, things like that. But I'm more mainly thinking about like the complexity of it all, like if you have issues with like the foundation of your characters or the foundation of your world building, like there's certain sections that you're not sure of, that's really mainly what I'm talking about there when it comes to like putting down questions so that later on you could like reference back into that and try to solve those questions. But yeah, but it is tough. Like it's the 80/20. Like 80% is probably going to be dreadful, stress, overthinking, procrastination, perfectionism, all of them combined. But 20% is very enjoyable. A lot of joy, just flow. Like when you're in the flow is like one of the best feelings ever. But if that discourages you, that most of the time is, like the other way, then I don't know. Like he said, I guess that's what makes people an amateur, but I wouldn't really say that. But what I would say is the amount of care you have for your story will kind of determine the willingness to like push through the dread. Let's just say that's probably the main thing that is like the separating factor of like who finishes their drafts and who doesn't, honestly.
He said, nevertheless, he opened up the book, and one of my first principles is that the real writers hate to write. All writers who are serious writers, they don't like to write. We love having written, but actually writing is always painful. Is it good enough? Uh,
That's a good way to put it. All writers love to have their stories written, but they hate the process of writing it. That's good. That's actually really good. I like the way he put it.
this guy said to me, it was such a liberation to read, for him to read that all writers hate to write, and to discover that he's not the only one who doesn't leap from his bed in the morning, with bells on, eager beyond description to get into his writing. No, we all want to put it off, delay it, defer it. It's that way for everybody.
Facts, facts, facts. Honestly, this is really the main reason why I wanted to react to this because it was a relieving feeling knowing that even bestsellers, like people who actually sell books and are actually really good at it, even they dread the process. And because I have moments where I really dread the process. I was like, damn, like, and it just puts in your mind because people always talk about like, oh, follow your passion, or like if you do what you love, it's not gonna feel like work. But it feels like as a writer, you're it's like the opposite. It's almost like you're diving into suffering on purpose. Because having it written, like you said, having it written is really what's bringing in the fulfillment, and that's really what's bringing out the vision in your mind. But the process of writing it is like just full of all of this, like he was stating earlier, the delays, procrastination, the overthinking everything. And seeing how he was talking about how like another writer was relieved that others felt the same way, it gave me it gave me that same type of relief as well, because I didn't think that was the case either. Like, and I plant some doubts in my mind that like, damn, like, am I really meant to do this if I'm like dreading writing sometimes? Like this moment like kind of helped me like realize, okay, writing is more of a sense. This is why I've been saying this recently. It's more of a duty and less of like a passion, or it's a passion as well, but it's like less of like a hobby, let's say. Yeah, a hobby. It feels more like you're obligated, like it's something you need to do because it's like popping into your mind like every few days, few weeks, few months, like it always gonna come back into your mind no matter how long time passes. So it's just an interesting thing to think about. Like, writers do dread writing. You're not the only one. Like, a lot of us do at least 80% of the time. So, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you found some relief as well when it comes to writing your own story. If the writing process, especially your outline, is becoming too dreadful that you've been stuck on your draft for a while now and you haven't really found a way to move forward, or you just need feedback with your outline, you could click the link down below to do a consultation call with me so that we'll be able to complete your outline. There's also going to be a video here or there that's going to explain my consultation calls, how I usually operate, how I usually give feedback, edit your outline, give suggestions, things like that. But yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day.